Varus are our big three, and then Senna kind of is that fourth option, depending on your team. We know EDG actually don't play that champion. They haven't since week 1 before it was a fasting strategy. Doesn't seem like Meiko is really comfortable with that, so right now the big champion left open is the Varus. And of course, we do still have Sett, but teams have been more tending to get away from that pick.
But this is surprising to me, Lyric, because remember that jiejie's priority has been on the Sejuani. The most banned against EDG still remains Sejuani, but that was when Junjia was on the roster here. You see how the dynamic shifts with jiejie returning.
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of this Trundle first pick when we do still have so many priority picks, like the Aphelios open, the Sett's open, some teams preferring things like the Ornn. And this isn't exactly a takeaway from Tian. We know Tian can play pretty much anything, has looked best on things like the Lee Sin and the Jarvan, so...
And both are, well, not the Jarvan, but at least the Lee Sin available here. You were mentioning other junglers, but the Olaf too. And remember that, even though we haven't seen in the LPL yet, Meiko does play different support, so there can always be a flex of the Trundle if necessary. We saw it over in the LEC from Hylissang in one of the first playoff series, but I'll hold my breath. Sett left open here, picked up by EDG, and Kaisa too for Hope.
Yeah, so not wanting to go towards that Varus is quite surprising, going with a scaling option in the Kaisa. And the thing we need to remember with the Sett is he is a flex pick. He can be put in the support role. Scout himself has picked him up a couple of times, so you still have a lot of flexibility on the side of EDG's draft.
But now for FPX, it's about what they're going to pick up next, because support has often been a focus here. And now that Tahm Kench is taken away, Chris picks up Thresh. Oh, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, big fan of this champion. We see that Braum and Tahm Kench are both off the table, so just getting some survivability next to the Aphelios with that Lantern. Of course, FPX already setting up for what could turn into a pick comp with that Thresh and Lee Sin, so I would expect to see Gimgoon to want to pick up something with engage options in the top side to kind of round out this comp later on.
But we are on a red side draft again for FPX, where they've left solo laners till last, so... just the usual here, it seems, with the Wukong banned away. It's made it all the way through the first rotation. Doesn't look like EDG had any priority to pick that one up. While casting it away from Doinb, he is deathless and undefeated after 3 games on that champion.
Yeah, and it seems like whenever we watch Doinb especially play the Kassadin, there's just always some early game shenanigans that happen. He ends up getting ahead, and you know, we see these games kind of snowball out of control.
That feels like all games at the moment in the LPL, to be quite honest. We've had a pretty wild couple of weeks recently. You're not going to get an Azir, though, to create the structure for Scout. And we start fickling down the champion pool through the mid lane, as both teams have really focused in hard on both Doinb and Scout, our premier matchup.
Yeah, so I feel like we're going to look for this fourth pick where they're going to go with Gimgoon. We do still have things like the Ornn open, which we talked about how we'd like to have engage options. He has really liked the Aatrox, and again, Jinoo can bring that setup in the top lane, but you can't rely on that pick.
Especially when you know that for FPX, they're full of surprises here as well. Will they leave it towards last pick for Gimgoon? Well, his Aatrox is open, so most likely a no, and it's locked in.
And we talked about how important this mid lane matchup is, especially for Scout. EDG love taking red side themselves and getting that last pick for Scout, so I feel like last picking for Doinb neutralizing that lane matchup is really important. And we do see actually the Sett going into the support role.
Yeah, you're going to see Sett support with Ornn picked in the top lane here for Jinoo. I know it's not the exciting matchup you wanted, but you get a Galio versus the LeBlanc here for Doinb.
Yep, Galio, kind of viewed as a soft counter. You do lose the lane, but of course you have so much magic resistance options built into your kit, and you are going to be able to follow her later in the game. Just kind of looking at these team comps, feels like EDG really have this kind of flanking sort of, you peel for the Kaisa with things like the Ornn and the Trundle. You have flanking options with Scout on the LeBlanc and Meiko on the Sett. And on the side of FPX, we have lots of pick potential. We already talked about the Thresh and the Lee Sin, especially with support from the Galio.
But, Lyric, if I told you this is a team like FPX, you'd say that's a perfect draft for them, right? Like, if we're talking Galio, Lee Sin, the ability to maybe free up mid, then roam bot. FPX diving bot is what they were known for at Worlds. We've talked many times on broadcast about it as well. And the ability to play that through this first game draft seems to be enabled.
Yeah, I feel like if you are FPX, you got exactly what you want, exactly what you've always been known to do. Moving over to EDG, it is a bit more confusing to where typically when you pick up the LeBlanc, you want a really strong 2v2 mid-jungle option, which Trundle is strong in those early duels, but doesn't offer a lot to a 2v2 in itself.
Especially not when it's hard to lock down here with the Pillar of Ice against the Galio. But FPX and EDG, I told you I was waiting for this one especially because right now, let's not forget, FPX are sitting 1 win away. If they win this series, they make it into playoffs. And it's kind of surprising to, I'm sure, our audience and ourselves that FPX is still not secured into playoffs when teams like IG and E-Stars already are.
Yeah, but that goes to an earlier discussion me and you had off screen was that with Gimgoon, this team is actually 7-0.
Yeah.
They have not lost a series yet, but they're 2-3 with Khan. Of course, 2 of those losses coming in the first week.
Only 3 individual games within those series dropped. Zumi. I always scan across to see which famous people we have. We got Doinb's wife leading the chants here for FPX, and that's very heartwarming.
As always.
Just
like back in the day when we actually had the stadiums.
Missed the arena, missed the action, but at least we're still getting the LPL here. 7 days a week, 3 series a day. Day number 7 here at the end of week 6.
True, we only have 1 week left.
We're running out of time. Welcome to Summoner's Rift for EDG and FPX. Again, a series I've been waiting for a long time. With Doinb versus Scout back onto the Rift, please note that we have a Galio with Predator to start things off.
Yeah, doesn't make much sense for his actual laning phase, but we know Doinb isn't playing for his laning phase. He just wants to get to his side lanes as quick as possible, and Sett going towards that Omni Stone option just is very good and gets the Hextech Flash plus Nimbus Cloak in his kit, which you obviously can't do if you are running something like an Aftershock. That is the big thing for it.
The fun thing is we've actually seen all Sett support now essentially in the past 2 weeks go Omni Stone rather than anything like the Aftershock. It's been more common than not. So there's no need to go into depth about it, and neither is the sense of the Kaisa with Halo Blades become more common as well.
That's just very standard these days, and with both of these drafts and the way both of these teams like to play, I would expect to see this just accumulate into some big bot lane team fights. We talked about how jiejie and Jinoo in the roster does put a lot more emphasis on Hope and Meiko, and someone like Sett in the bot lane, we've talked about many times, really wants hard gank pressure in the bot lane.
Just to come back to Doinb though, while we have it on the screen, you can see the Taste of Blood, a lot of healing here. Bit of item CDR as well. So you're expecting maybe the hose, the Proto Belt, more common here for the Galio. Nimbus Cloak there as well with a bit of Transcendence. So cooldown reduction to boot.
Yep, Nimbus Cloak just being so strong ever since the buffs to it. So big fan of that rune, but in general, Predator on Galio, not common. Not sure how I personally feel about it, but it fits what Doinb wants to do.
Yeah, remember, he's taken it on the Rumble mid as well. So it's like any champion that can fit the build towards the bottom side, he's going to take. Chris throwing out a death sentence as Lwx also hits level 2 at the same time, but Hope and Meiko with a good dodge. Yet again, they're here in the bottom lane. The shove eventually going against EDG here with Tian pathing towards the bottom side. Jiejie's here as well.
Yep, we did see Tian go for the single target clear, of course, doing both of his buffs into Gromp, and now actually going to end up making his way towards the top side. I do expect him, though, to end up looking for this bot lane.
Hang on, Facebreaker with Ignite, flash away from Lwx. The overtrade from the Aphelios, a mistake you don't normally see from Lwx and Crisp.
This is actually a mistake we've seen much more commonly this split, though, and we talked about how with Khan in the roster, Tian does look more towards the top lane. He doesn't consistently look for it every game, but does look there more. And we've seen Lwx and Crisp get caught out many times. The one that stands out to me recently was against LNG, where they tried all-inning their bot lane for a 2v1, what they thought kill, and then all of LNG collapsed and killed both of them.
Wasn't it against the Sett as well in that bottom lane? So maybe having a couple of nightmares as we return to a pause. We apologize for the delay. Looks like our other casters are a bit confused about that one as well. We'll get that sorted shortly here, but FPX EDG Game 1 will continue forward. And already the bottom lane of Lwx, I mean, that's an issue. You mentioned as a recency that has been a rising issue. But here in this game, it just seems like losing their form in the early stages.
Yeah, just especially when it comes to laning phase. I feel like post-laning phase, they've both been still pretty good, especially Crisp on a lot of these engage options that we've always loved him on. But in lane especially, we see them greed for kills, greed for turret plates, ignore enemy jungle pathing, just a lot of kind of basic mistakes, basic decision-making mistakes we see out of Lwx and Crisp quite often.
It's like changing the style completely. Lwx and Crisp left on maybe more so of an island here. We're getting a quick look at drafts while we are in this pause. I'll update you once I know anything here. But through the draft, the thing that interests me the most, I guess, was the style that FPX went towards with the Galio in the mid lane. We did come in talking about the wide champion pool of both Scout and Doinb, 15 champions each. And Doinb still has that wide variety of picks you don't expect to see, so it's always hard to ban him away or find something that will actually counter his lane.
Yeah, and he always ends up going with these kind of bruisers that either are able just to get priority on their own, things like the Renekton, things like the Kled, or something like a Galio, which doesn't matter if you have priority or not. You will always be able to follow this LeBlanc with your ultimate. So,
and Predator.
I don't know why you're so interested in this draft, because it just seems like standard FPX.
Yeah, I know, but it's been a while since I've cast FPX. How long has it been for you? Because a bit too long, and now that we're back into the Rift, what happened there? Jiejie and Tian face off, and Tian, the solid victor, now heading towards bottom side.
Yeah, so Chris being able to walk up since, of course, Lwx had to recall off of that playing the bot side, but Tian going so aggressive.
Level advantage, but now maybe caught out with the pillar. Meiko's coming in as well. Nice lantern, but they're on top of it. The death sentence indeed for Tian, though. First blood and overstep from the jungle of FPX.
And this is what we were talking about with FPX just making some mistakes that, right, this has nothing to do with Khan or Gimgoon being in the roster. This is just an overstep from the side of FPX.
That first blood going to Jiejie as well. Big welcome back to him in the jungle, but Trundle in a good position, and now, even through the mid lane, heal has to be burnt with Scout pressuring that 1v1 and Jiejie coming in close behind.
Yeah, and we've seen this lane matchup many times before in the LPL. LeBlanc does have early pressure in the straight up 1v1, especially with Jiejie being so close, having that pillar, Doinb having to blow that summoner spell.
Also, not much MR given only from that level 1 shield of Duran. Wave pushing in. Tian now shadowing him a bit, going for the top side scuttle. But Jiejie with the kill firmly in the lead has now hit level 4 himself. And we're going to be spotting a little bit here. Smite a bit early. Oh, playing with fire. Tian isn't able to steal that one away. Jiejie finishes his clear, now looks to back away.
And we still see Tian being hyper-aggressive, knowing that Doinb will always be close behind to follow. Of course, Gimgoon also had push in the top side, so if he needs to come, he can be there as well. And this is just the great use of kind of lane pressure and the trust in your teammates that we know FPX have always had.
Also, when you talk about FPX, you do think about that jungle mid 2v2. The 2v2 that won the World Championship, essentially, and defined the playstyle of FPX. Note that Doinb is roaming down here. He's not level 6, but he has Flash. He doesn't have Predator either. Maybe just looking to threaten Meiko and iBoy.
I was going to say, this is just what you see of, really good mid laners knowing, hey, even if he didn't recall, just hovering towards your bot side, the enemy bot lane having to think, oh my god, is he roaming down here? We have to back off, giving some space for your bot lane to play.
At the very least, EDG walk back after seeing that Doinb is nowhere to be found. A deep ward spots out Jiejie going towards this other side of the bottom lane. Dragon, not spotted out either.
I'm a big fan of this call by EDG because we just saw Gimgoon TP into the top side. Of course, Jinoo's TP is still up. So even if FPX wanted to contest, Jinoo would always be close behind.
Okay, Cloud going to be started off here. Next one coming up is a Mountain. And Jiejie sticking around even with Cloud taken. Chris going to throw a Lantern into the brush and spot his disappearance. But meanwhile, Tian is going for an invade, knowing that he's still here.
Yeah, and ooh, FPX bot lane actually wanting to contest.
Sticking around a bit longer. The Flash Face Breaker pulls in Lwx. Where can he go? I have the answer for you. Back to the fountain. Hope another kill over to EDG.
Yeah, EDG just doing so well at playing around the spot lane of FPX, and Tian going for the top side in vain. Of course, they know that Jiejie was on the bot side because they have full vision.
This is a tank. It's going to take a lot more. Doinb does have the ultimate, but Jinoo can just walk away.
And he also bought Bramble Vest, which I really like. Not only is it the stronger lane option rather than the Sunfire Cape, but of course you look at FPX's comp, Lee Sin, Aatrox, Aphelios, the only magic damage coming out is the Galio.
Very, very true. Now looking to turn this one around. Jinoo with Call the Forge God. The engage comes through from Scout. The Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike. Now Tian stuck over a wall. The Flash here with the Searing Charge. And they burn Tian. Scout's going to get the kill. Actually, taken by Jiejie with the burn. 2 kills for the Trundle now.
Like, I don't know what FPX are doing with their decision-making. If Jinoo was going to open up the Call of the Forge God, FPX should expect Scout to be there. We know Jiejie was roaming up. And even EDG's bot lane coming off of a base weren't too far behind.
It's the compliments we gave to EDG with that first game we saw back, where Jinoo and Jiejie were assimilating into the roster yet again, and EDG looked just as good, if not better, than they did with Junja and Audi/Xiaoshang. So a good start here for EDG in game number 1. 1.3k gold lead here in under 8 minutes. And 2 kills now on the Trundle means early Cinderhulk means that he has control of the map.
I also like the roam by Meiko. Just another good point of Omnistone, of course. Sett just can pretty much use any of them. giving pressure to Scout, but Crisp is here.
Great when he has Predator as well, isn't
Yep.
it? But Chris can't find his way into the lane. Very hard to gank this LeBlanc. Tian going very aggressive again, but that's another face breaker. Hero's entrance going to come through, but feels like a defensive ult from Doinb. Now jiejie just goes back to the buff.
Yeah, it does feel like Doinb pulled the trigger too soon. They could have postured and fought for this aggressively because they had the follow-up coming in from the Galio and they know Scout's in the mid lane. But had they held that, again, try to bait EDG into more of a committed fight, they could have come out maybe with some kills.
At the very least, FPX taking away the buff, the small minor win here. Tian outside the realm of vision. Meiko and Hope have a pushing wave.
And we see EDG with an advantage. And for scaling, I definitely favor the side of EDG. Having the Kaisa, having the Ornn, having the Trundle, and the Sett as well, of course. Having, you know, percent HP damage, having the true damage from Haymaker. So this game is not going to get easier for the side of FPX, especially with a one-threat composition coming out with your Aphelios.
Just look across the board, you can see already pretty decent lanes for the bottom side, with Scout about 10 CS, about 10 CS towards Hope as well, plus that kill. He was also able to pick up Berserker Greaves, while the only lane going decently right now is for Gimgoon in this top side. And if you want to count Tian in the jungle, sure, he's got a level lead for now. He's got a bit of farm on the back of that as well.
One, it's going to be so easy for the side of EDG to itemize. Jinoo, jiejie, and Meiko all just going to be able to stack some armor, and then it's going to be very hard for FPX to take them down in, you know, the 15, 20-minute Dragon teamfights we expect to see.
Super easy champions to itemize that armor. You talk about Jinoo here. With already the Bramble Vest, he's also picked up the Bammy Cinder early on. And I bet those Ninja Tabi will be shortly behind as Rift Herald spawn, pings are going down. EDG have the vision towards this side. I think they're going to be starting this up while FPX looks for the push spot.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of EDG not over-committing to the top side. Still, FPX are going to be able to get some plate gold, which is unfortunate, but Hope going to get here in time, still going to pick up some CS. EDG, FPX not going to be able to over-pressure the spot lane, and EDG still going to get the objective.
See what they do with it here. jiejie now hits level 6 as well, to be noted. With the Rift Herald in hand, so many lanes to go through.
Yep, we still do expect to see this Rift Herald go towards the bottom side of the map. Of course, we have Jinoo in the top. He's an Ornn. You do not need that plate gold on your Ornn. So, accelerating Hope's kind of late game is what we want to see from EDG.
He's got double pickaxe.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you talk about acceleration, this Kaisa's already in a good place. The Rift Herald will do so much more as well. You saw Doinb trying to roam down there before with Predator. It was procced really early. But each and every time, Hope and Meiko are just backing away. So really good communication across the board. EDG are paying the respect to this mid lane. Galio and Scout, because of it, is still winning out this lane.
Well, and it's why when you face teams like FPX, teams like IG, who consistently play the same way and have, you know, since they've had these rosters, it's really nice to see cerebral teams who say, okay, we know your game plan and we're going to actively, you know, play against it rather than, you know, just letting you do what you want.
Especially when EDG need to show us that they are worthy of being a playoff team. They're on the outskirts right now of the winning number at 10, but never mind that. Meiko goes for the flash in. There's the showstopper right into the back. Chris has to flash away. Scout running in, gets exhausted. Chris dodges away from the chain. Tian saves him with a good safeguard, but now, where's the re-engage? Lwx is coming in. EDG might be choked away, but a good dodge from Hope away from the Sonic Wave means EDG survive, and Jinoo's like, I'm going to stay up here ready to TP.
Yeah, good job by Jinoo kind of waiting in the wings, but we see there Meiko, the Sett with Omni, so not having Aftershock, just how squishy it is once you do get in the middle of the enemy team. Of course, having to flash away and get out of there, and EDG not able to follow up the pick he was trying to set up.
A lot used for that as well. You can see that the dive comes through, and a couple of ultis were burned by EDG. Chris drops down the box as well, and flash and exhaust both traded in that play. And now we're back to square one, but I say that with a game like FPX and EDG in front of us, that's never going to be the case. Dragon started here by Tian.
Yep, doesn't look like EDG. Looks like EDG are actually just finding out. Hope is going to go and check. Jinoo still has TP, and EDG's comp doesn't have a lot of engage options, so we got to look out for Jinoo.
Well, there's that TP you're talking about, but FPX turned to 2 people. Target selection, fantastic. And with a double taunt, that's the fight done. Jinoo TP'd in, hasn't been spotted out yet.
Yeah, just Meiko and Scout getting a bit too close. When we talked about their composition, it is playing these front-to-back teamfights with the Kaisa, Trundle, and Ornn on one side, and Scout especially looking for a flank onto FPX's backline. Scout and Meiko just get too close. Of course, FPX just collapse 5-man on top of them, and Jinoo's TP doesn't matter at that point.
Really doesn't. He was trying to find something here in the bottom lane after the fact as well, but FPX's bottom lane just smashed down Hope, as you saw on your screen. And there's the potency. Doinb presses W and 2 people are right into him. We'll have a look at how this started.
Yeah, and this is just, to me, a mistake coming out from Scout and Meiko.
Yep.
They didn't need to walk that far forward. Neither of them that inherently tanky. We really need to see someone like jiejie or Meiko be the ones to walk up against FPX.
And you look at what happens because of that play. Doinb now has a kill and the Proto Belt. Essence Reaver now picked up. For the Aphelios that was down 20 CS in lane and was down items against Hope as well. So FPX getting some gold back on the board, now ahead by 600 themselves.
Yeah, but the longer this game goes, it also is one of the strengths of EDG in general, not just their composition, right? We've known EDG as a kind of mid to late game team fighting team all split. We actually saw them in their last series against LNG, the first one with Jinoo and jiejie. They were falling behind early against LNG, which isn't something you'd expect. Still came out ahead in those fights around Rift Herald and Baron and ended up closing out that series 2-0.
A lot of the late game shot calling you can see from EDG has been good in the past. Right here, let's focus here on the early game because the Rift Herald getting a charge here. But no turret plating to take, unluckily for EDG. They'll get a bit of damage down. Doinb clears that one away. We're just back to a bit of a state right now. You can see turret plating on the bottom of your screen, though. 800 gold picked up by FPX, while EDG only 160. May have found Jinoo, though. He's going to have to get his way out of this one. He has flash to go over the wall just in time as well. Gimgoon follows this one up, but he's out with a key summoner down for the Ornn.
Yeah, with all the armor he stacked, very hard for Tian and Gimgoon to find that kill on him, so game just going to slow down once again, and sadly, with no objective really up when they use that Rift Herald, they can't try to convert that into a dragon or, any other kind of play. The map wasn't set up for them to look for plays elsewhere.
So you talk about EDG's composition, you talk about this scaling element. I look at FPX and I see, okay, yeah, you got the Aphelios, but it doesn't look as good as EDG. Do they have to push the tempo right now? Do we have to see them start accelerating this through side lanes or through mid control?
Yes, so, and we already have seen this, right? We want to see them accelerate through forcing these skirmishes around river, forcing the number advantage. In the last fight, they got kind of lucky that EDG gave them the numbers advantage, but still, you have this global ult from Galio. Tian actually has 3 lanes he can gank. I would say only 2 at this point because, again, you're not going to kill Jinoo, but you can look mid. You have CC coming out from the Galio, can always chain that into a Sonic Wave and pick onto Scout. And you can also look bot at any time with Crisp on this Thresh.
At any time, seems like now. You see Hope's in the middle of the wave here. Pings are going down for missing Doinb. He doesn't have Predator available, but he has the ult. We haven't seen the ult used to engage this bottom lane just yet.
And another thing with this comp and just the way that FPX likes to draft is their compositions are very reliant on finding picks and getting kills and then turning those into tower, right? When you're drafting a lot of melee and bruiser champions in the mid lane, you aren't going to be able to put yourself into a situation where you can just siege and try to burn through towers.
Waiting for mistakes, essentially. Doinb not going to be able to back right there. He does have a level lead in this lane and now is caught up on the CS, in fact, ahead. Scout's not letting him back, though. I don't know if Doinb's doing this to bait, but this is 3rd time's the charm.
Yep, I'm not sure either, but looks like he is finally going to be able to get off that back.
Okay.
And now with EDG rotating mid, actually doesn't mean much with Lwx and Crisp here, but EDG should be able to get this Rift Herald with all of their members being here already.
But you can see pings are going down. FPX want to contest this one. Crisp walking in as well. 3K. Have they left it too late?
Yeah.
Seems so. Gimgoon's over the wall, but EDG can just walk this one out.
I was going to say the only way they could have gotten on that is a Sonic Wave into an ultimate coming out from Doinb, getting right in the middle of the team, but missed the Sonic Wave. I still think Doinb was a bit too far away, so would have been a really awkward angle, but I actually don't think an awkward angle for a team fight has ever stopped FPX in the
No,
past.
it hasn't. Definitely hasn't. They're always going to go in. But if you look at the timer in the top left, you can see 15 seconds until the Infernal Dragon. Now, EDG are backed away. But will they be able to come on the map before we see this dragon spawn? Because FPX have priority towards the bottom side, and EDG are walking back mid.
Yeah, the confusing thing is that we see Jinoo heading back top, actually, when he can't just give up that wave. He's already fallen behind in CS, because I would like to see EDG contest the straights.
Instead, they want to go mid. They do have the Rift Herald.
I actually like this. Yeah, they do have the Rift Herald.
The pressure play, it seems, Lyric here.
Still not going to be able to follow up on that, and again, if they weren't going to commit to just a 4 or 5-man push for Tier 2, feels like Jinoo should have just walked straight bot, and they should have looked for this team fight.
Yeah. because the Dragon, as expected, goes over to FPX at the end of the day as well.
Because they didn't commit to either play, right? You could have had your 4-man continue to push mid, hover top where Jinoo is waiting. If FPX look for an engage on you from bot side, you should be able to peel off through this corridor.
Imagine that turret going down too as well. And Raquel did get a charge in the process, but you look at Doinb towards the bottom side, he picked up the turret in that trade as well. So advantage FPX, and Jinoo unable to get the turret up in the top side as Gimgoon defends. Bottom left-hand of your screen, you see that shove there.
Yeah, and it's really important that FPX got that Infernal Drake because we talked about how they want to keep pushing the tempo, and especially if they can get something like 3 Infernals in a row, getting that Infernal Soul will be very massive because we talked about how their damage can kind of fall off in the later stages of the game, but 3 Infernal Drakes and Infernal Soul, that might not be a problem.
If we were going to use the word wombo as well, you know, the overused word of wombo combo, well, FPX have that, and with that burst to come through as well, that'd be so great.
I don't feel like it's that overused, especially when you're running something like a Galio, right?
Yeah.
It is always fair to say wombo
Hang
combo.
on, Lwx. Scout is dead. Solo kill from Gimgoon. He hasn't been back since OMG. I think he deserves some praise.
You know, it's amazing, too, because if anyone remembers the OMG series, it was game 1 where he got extremely hard camped by OMG. I think he went like 0-7 or 0-8, got subbed out after that series. So great to see him get put back in the roster and actually kill one of the main carries from EDG.
And now FPX won't stop. There's the kick, but can they kill him? There's a bit of AP damage here available. Shield of Duran max stack as well. And that means Jinoo can't get the reverse charge on the ultimate. FPX are bringing in everyone. The cavalry there, but Hope ults in as well. A bit ambitious. He's exhausted, and the Shield of Duran is coming up. Doinb is tanking meanwhile as well. Ooh. What a guy and what a play is FPX now getting counter-engaged. Shield of Duran once again onto Meiko. Chris sacrifices his life while Scout comes in and picks up yet another. He's chasing this one, and FPX are in some serious trouble. The flash away for Doinb, but Scout is going to be able to follow this one up. It's just about who he kills. Tian on the grand escape, but no more. EDG turn this one back, and Scout is not done. The Justice Punch, the Proto Belt. Scout really wants this kill. And now, can he get it? Golden in the nick of time.
Ooh, but Meiko? Nah,
He's got fleet footwork.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
I guess not. But EDG turned the play.
It's still going.
And we're still getting a bit messy here suddenly. In EDG in FPX game 1, Gimgoon says, I have ulti. Can he do this? He's on top of Meiko. He hasn't popped the ult just yet. Scout over the wall. There's the World Ender. That's a 2-man dunk. The Facebreaker does nothing. There's the Showstopper, but Gimgoon still continues to go in. Can he find Meiko? No. Here comes the Galio once again. Meiko's probably going to die in the end. But this got real messy real fast.
I just can't believe Gimgoon had the confidence to make that play, because you are standing here looking at this like, what are you doing? You're 1 against 3. Doinb's not close enough to ult. They're just going to kill you. Does buy enough time. Doinb gets in there. They pick up a kill, but...
This is all yours. Oh, this is a better one. This is a much nicer play.
Yeah, just Gimgoon waiting in the brush. Wasn't showing on the map. Has so much damage. Really late flash coming out from Scout, and already turning to Baron.
There's 4 versus 5. Jinoo's teleporting in. Chris lands a hook here onto Jinoo. They turn for the play instead. The Ornn is going to deny, but he's not tanky enough for all 5. Now Jinoo down for 40 seconds. FPX turn to Baron.
And they have an Aphelios. So they don't actually have the guns they want.
Chris lands the hook yet again. Jiejie Golden in the middle of 5. That ain't going to cut it. FPX are taking them on 1 by 1. You want to take Scout as well? Well, they'll turn for you. Graviton with the poke. Baron number 3. Attempt, rather, I should say. Doinb going to get chained up, walking away. He survives from now. Predator is getting started. The Shield of Duran, he runs into 2. The movement speed, absolutely fantastic. Scout will smash his face into the rest of FPX, but it's too late. EDG have lost this fight completely.
Yeah, now Scout still trying to dissuade them from starting that Baron. Does seem like he does it, but we were talking about how FPX need to push the pace, and I don't know a better way to describe...
Tian.
How'd he hit the chain?
He's dead. Yeah, he's actually just dead.
But even going back to that initial engage from FPX in EDG's topside jungle, they just said, screw mid priority, we don't need that, we're going to leave the wave there, we're just going to invade your jungle regardless. Getting kills, overstepping just a bit, which gave EDG the return kills, but still, they're forcing you to make decisions in places you normally wouldn't have to think, right? You shouldn't be thinking, this whole team is not pushing out mid or top, they're just walking into our jungle, they're diving our inner turrets, and then turning straight to Baron. again, they're just not giving time for EDG to even consider what options they have.
To stop and think for a team like EDG that we talked about pace quite a lot in the past. FPX is still pushing that here now, and we asked earlier on, the FPX need to push the pace. Well, this is what they've done. They're 5K ahead. They're starting the Infernal as well.
We don't even have time to think about what's going on. Like, we just turn back to the scrimmage like, oh my god, FPX are once again forcing something, and we look at Lwx especially getting really big on this Aphelios.
He's massive, 4-2 and 4 after that play. I didn't even notice because
Gimgoon
we went through. Yeah, I guess I noticed Gimgoon with a solo kill, but the 1 versus 3 will be the benefactor of that as well after the kill on Meiko. He's got 2 items here with the Death Stance completed. Renan's Hurricane here on Aphelios as well. But note that Doinb now has the Zhonya's Hourglass. I believe he had it in the last play as well. That or a stopwatch. So we got some really big moments here for FPX's core carries, core members as well.
I was going to say, I feel like we're now at the point where FPX's comp, also with the gold lead, also with the Dragons, and where the items are at, it just outshines EDG in these fights. So we do need to see EDG create more time if they want to take this, because look at Scout's build and then compare that to where Gimgoon and Doinb are. You're not going to pick either of them off. You really need to get on Lwx, but their bot lane is running double exhaust.
Also remember that Hope has a mana immune that's not a mirror mana at 24 minutes in the game as well. So the damage you expect is not there. Doinb still chasing for opportunities through the mid lane. Tries to cut off EDG, but FPX have their eyes on the prize yet again.
Yeah, going to do a very good job of sweeping out this vision in EDG's jungle. Just making it hard for them to come in blind, but they still do have that ward behind the Baron pit.
Crisp has been on point with his hooks this game. 1 miss is not going to deter EDG. Walking through to clear vision themselves. FPX have not started this one up, with the midway pushing up. Lwx catches, and they back away yet again. A game of cat and mouse here.
Yep, and with Scout's TP coming back up in a second, is going to go back to playing around that side lane, putting some pressure in the bot lane, forcing someone to come and answer. And right now on the side of FPX, Gimgoon's TP isn't up, so if you pull him to the bot side, you can try to create pressure on the top side of the map and force a skirmish where Scout can come, Gimgoon can't.
Again, remember that we were talking a lot about Scout versus Doinb in this matchup. I feel like this game 1 has been a really nice introduction, a nice reintroduction to Scout going up against Doinb, because they've had very different roles, very different champions of that as well. But you've also got the highlight on Gimgoon on the right side of your screen. A big welcome back. It's been 3 series since we've seen him. His 100% win rate is trying to live up to the board.
I could have swore you're going to say the highlight so far has been Gimgoon against Scout, which kind of has, and we still see him looking for it.
I mean, the solo kill will do that, right? It was a quick turnaround. It was one that Scout couldn't react to.
We're also at a point where Gimgoon does win that 1v1 against the LeBlanc. So just putting him up against Scout makes sense.
Wow, what a hook though. Crisp has found Hope. He's going to have to use the killer instinct immediately, but he's killed before his instinct kicks in. FPX with a crucial pick. They're in front of the Baron and they want to do it again.
And this is what we talked about with Crisp. Even though we've seen some struggles in the FPX bot lane in laning phase, once we get past that point, these two are so on point. Crisp, another LPL Thresh just showing up massively.
And he's waiting for more. You can see already EDG are like, we've lost Baron. We don't have our AD carry. We need to set up vision towards the bottom side and at least try and get a trade. But FPX with Baron, FPX with about to be a 7k gold lead, have taken control of this game 1.
Yeah, especially with Hope going down, the rest of the members say, okay, we cannot contest this. Just decide to hover bot side and let Scout take an objective in return. But we're getting to the point where it's going to be really hard for EDG to get to the point that they need 6k gold behind, and the next Dragon is up in a minute and a half. You cannot afford to give up Infernal Soul.
Because you can see that EDG were really doing a good job of slowing this game down before we got into the chaos. But in 2019, when we saw this team come together in FPX, we called them the team of chaos, right? Like Doinb incites chaos.
Yeah, just FPX have played this way since last year. Does feel like they've made a bit more individual mistakes coming out this year.
Yeah.
We do see them. Oh, wait, let's take a look at the hook. Ooh, just really clean coming out from Crisp. Everything hits the Aphelios ultimate coming out, as well as the Sonic Wave. Just does a really good job of securing that kill.
I know the vision was denied there as well, so technically blind with a question mark.
But going back to our point, we were talking about the individual mistakes. Another thing that happened in that LNG series was when Doinb just packaged into the mid lane.
No.
Right into Maple's LeBlanc.
That was not nice. Is Doinb caught out again? What have you done here? But he's so frank the tank right now. He's got 3 items. One of them a Banshee's Veil. The other Zhonya's. So Doinb is packing heat. He's 2 levels over Scout as well.
Yeah, it does seem like they're looking at the EDG comp. They see the LeBlanc, they see Kaisa, which of course is tons and tons of magic damage, just saying, hey, we're going to itemize a ton of MR.
So what's going to happen here? Because Scout almost gets poked out over the side of the wall. Jinoo has to walk away from the hook. Crisp again. The one searching to make EDG's life hell almost hits once more. This is Infernal Soul, and FPX won it.
Yep, and the player we need to look out on the side of Scout is if he can get on top of Lwx, but you even look at his build, he has so much MR, I'm not sure that EDG have the damage to take him down anymore.
Predator's going to be used, Doinb coming in for the flank. He's spotted out by a ward though, and EDG are pressured because of him. The level 16 Galio does hit hard as well. 2K on the Dragon. Here comes the engage from the side of Meiko. Could be good for EDG. The hero's entrance, though, lands right in the middle with Hope getting a kill. It looks good until it doesn't. Gimgoon gets a reset, but he's dangerously low as the steal from jiejie may have saved the game. EDG want to pack away the fight, but FPX again won't let them. It's Aphelios ready and reloaded. FPX still get him, but EDG stop the Infernal play.
Yeah, EDG finding the crucial play they need, even if they end up falling in a teamfight. We talked about that they don't have the damage to win a sustained teamfight, still buying themselves more time, stopping that Infernal Soul.
But the problem is big death timers at this point. While FPX don't get the Infernal Soul, they're taking down turrets pretty damn quick.
I was going to say, look, overall, it's a win for FPX. Everyone knows that, but gotta find that silver lining for EDG.
You do. You got to be positive. And I will say from jiejie, it is a nice steal because the Infernal Soul means the rest of that fight could get even worse. Inhibitor broken over. Scout walks through the mid lane, gets Aphelios with a couple of shurikens on the way out.
Did you say it's Aphelios?
Yeah. Do you like that?
I like that a lot.
I think it's everyone's feelings towards this champion.
It's very accurate.
To be quite honest. He's 6-2 and 6, by the way, but again, let's see how this one broke out.
Yeah, we do see Meiko go in, good engage onto the Aatrox, and then they have just enough damage to take Chris down, but still, Doinb then getting on the backline, and we see how much work Lwx is doing here. Scout jumping in, does a huge ton of damage, and then we do see that Aphelios ult coming out, and doesn't matter how tanky you are, Jinoo. In these sustained fights, Lwx and FPX come out ahead, especially with the 2 Infernals.
These fights are super hard to track. You can see it's like an ultimate from Doinb you wait for, then you look for like the Aphelios ulti, but where's Scout? There's so many things.
I was going to say, you don't need to tell me. I have to try and explain it.
Dude, I had to try and cast that. That was near impossible to track that one. But at this point, if you're looking across the board, something you can track are the items on the side of FPX. Another big point you'd say, the third item for Gimgoon, who was still almost unkillable in that last fight, and essentially was. The Haunting Guy is picked up for Doinb in the mid lane as well.
Yeah, just wanting to get to that point where he has the Leandries, has the Madness, hitting the Winds of War, and just applying all of that damage onto the side of EDG. But again, from a damage standpoint, I don't think it really matters how much damage that Doinb is doing.
True.
It really is coming down to Lwx.
I mean, he's a HP tank.
And Gimgoon at this point.
Yeah. But you said EDG want to slow this one down. You can see Hope is getting towards those items. And while right now not really that relevant, being 8k gold behind, you still got to take note because FPX still have to close this one out. Scout sitting in a side lane while FPX are channeling down their broken inhibitor lane, plus heading towards the top side.
Well, and if you're EDG, you really don't have any other options. Keeping Scout in the side lane and putting pressure on that bot turret does make sense. But if you're FPX, you don't care. Who cares if they take your inner turret bot if you can force an engage
Chris
and win?
just walks up to Jinoo. Goodbye. This Ornn has 50 seconds on a death timer. That was super easy if you're a Thresh main. And now they walk towards the next inhibitor.
Yep, Scout gonna get a return tower in the bot lane, but it doesn't matter. FPX might be able to just keep going and even look to force the end.
In a 4 versus 5, without Scout here, he's gonna back away. Double inhibitor, FPX aren't stopping here.
They have everything up.
And EDG caught against the wind. It seems FPX are going to start on this first Nexus turret. It'll drop down immediately. 5 members still here. 20 seconds onto Jinoo. Scout looking for a flanking angle. Here comes the Aphelios ult. They get Gravitum down onto Hope. Gimgoon wants to channel in, but the ult comes through from Meiko to get him away from the AD carry. There comes Doinb's ult as well, and Meiko drops once more. Gimgoon chasing after Scout while FPX are working down the turret. EDG in their last defense. I don't think this is going to work out. Hope with the ultimate though, trying to save the day. A good call to Forge God. FPX are low, but you can't kill the core carries. That'll be their game 1 in the box.
That game went from 0 to 100 pretty much out of nowhere, starting from that topside play, and FPX thriving so much in the chaos that they created, and ending up picking up, I'd say, a pretty decisive win.
Because the first 15 minutes of that game were like calculated, smart, and you're like, oh, good points for both teams here. EDG looked to be the ones keeping the slow pace towards them.
Well, they got ahead, right? They started out 3-0 in the game, and when we look at that, we're like, ooh, we look at FPX's comp, but especially with them getting ahead on kind of key champions. Aatrox got so far ahead. We were talking about, hey, FPX won't have damage in the later stages of the game, but your Aatrox is one item up on his lane opponent. Lwx got one item up on his lane opponent. It just never mattered, right? The compositions never mattered because FPX just pushed the pace to where it didn't.
And you got to give props to, I think Gimgoon was a big part about the tempo shifting for FPX. The solo kill, a big moment, and that 3 versus 1 play where he took on 3 members, confident he could survive, to bring in the rest of the team. Again, Gimgoon versus Khan, they're both fantastic top laners, but you can see why FPX are so successful with Gimgoon on their side.
Well, they won a world championship with him, right?
They did.
So
wow.
it just makes sense.
It does. It's a world championship roster. It's also synergy, and I know this is a larger discussion, but...
But we also did see kind of some of the flaws this game, right? We saw Tian go way too deep when he evaded those Krugs. We saw their bot lane misstep, but...
Lwx early got pushed out of the lane.
But when it gets to these skirmishes and when it gets to, I think, a slower mid-game, FPX are so good at just making a play happen. Doesn't matter if it's the right play or not. They're going to force you into making a choice. And guess what? You're not going to have the time to think about it. They're going to get the picks that they need, and they're always going to turn that into an objective.
Even a team that we're expecting to get in playoffs like EDG, and although they did play well, it's forcing them into uncomfortable situations that made this game a win for FPX. And when Lwx is so fed, when Doinb's able to get access freely, you know that game's done there.
I was going to say we were talking about Doinb's build in game, and we said it doesn't matter because you have all the damage coming out from Lwx, and we see here on the graph that that's what mattered in the end.
He acted as the tank as well, right? The Zhonya's, the Banshee's Veil, the Haunting guys, HP as well.
But you know something the graph doesn't show is how clutch Crisp was with those death sentences.
He was good. How many hooks landed? I mean, this is a hard thing, right? When you see FPX in a mid-game like that, you're like, who do you highlight? Because Gimgoon, Doinb all had moments. And Lwx and Chris, the bottom lane. It just goes to show you that when FPX play like this, at least the later portion of the game, you remember why they were the best team in the LPL, the best team in the world for last year as well.
Well, and we remember even ignoring like playoffs and world championships, they were the best team in both regular seasons last split by far.
Almost undefeated, 14-1 split, 13-2 split as well, right? So FPX is showing up big here against EDG. Remember, one more game win here to finish off the series. FPX secure playoffs yet again up there with IG and E-Star. They're one step away. All they need is game